All right, all right, all right. Y'all get on in here. It's Thursday. Give everybody a little bit of time to come in. Got the Pecan Festival coming up very, very soon. South Carolina Pecan Music and Food Festival, November 1st. Commodore is going to be on the scene. Hope you're going to be out there. We got a contest for the artists in the community. Hope you're going to come out and chalk it up with me because I'll be out there. I'll be judging your artistry. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hope you're feeling good. I really hope you are feeling good because I am feeling better. Let me tell you guys something. I was in a whole mess. I was in a mess. They had your girl down. I had a bug. I was sick, but I'm better and I'm with you. And usually we do this on Thursdays at 12 noon, but I had a meeting this morning and we decided we're going to do this at 2. I got Kelly who's going to be coming in here with me very, very, very soon. And I know y'all ready for that. All right, guys, listen. Welcome to Talk It Out Tuesday. This is where, we do what we have to do. We have these conversations that are very important for us to be having. All right. And sometimes I have a guest, sometimes it's just me and you when we're in here in the chat. But either way it goes, you know that you have a seat at this table. Okay, this is a space where we break it down, those local headlines, those local timelines. There are things that we should be talking about. And I got Kelly in here, and y'all know y'all love when we talk it up with Kelly. How you feeling, Kelly?
Unlike you, I don't know what's going on. My lip nose is a little bit swollen yesterday, but I'm better today.
No.
So I can be able to talk to the folks.
Yeah, Kelly, I tell you, we've got so much to talk about. Like I said, they had your girl out, but I'm back, and it was a lot that went on last week. I did at the end of the week, like I started feeling good. Let's say Friday was really like my best day. I really kind of felt myself like I could go out again, but I missed some of everything. And that was my homecoming weekend.
Yeah, you definitely missed a great candidate forum over in Florence. Very interesting people, I was going to say that, who came, and candidates who said some interesting things, which I shared with you after the fact. Mm-hmm. And this is why I am encouraging people in your community, find out, because we have an election that's literally right around the corner, November the 4th. We have a lot of municipal races that is happening here in South Carolina, across the states, in your counties. But if you have races in your counties, find out if they're having candidate forums. I know here in Myrtle Beach, they didn't have about 9 candidate forums already. I know the town of Aner has had a candidate forum. Conway has had candidate forums. Florence has had candidate forums. Marion County has had. So just check within and look at local social media and seeing what organizations, groups, or whether it's your Republican Party or your Democrat Party, see if they're hosting some candidate forums so you can go and hear the people directly. Because of course we can polish and put everything out on social media to make us look good, but once we're in person and the questions are being asked, that's a whole different story.
Let me ask you a question since you bring that up, because you're absolutely right. It's important for people to go to these forums and find out exactly what these candidates have in mind, because these are the people that you're going to put in office. But do you find people are showing up, and do you find that they are engaging? How are the candidates engaging? What's that local scene like for you?
I only can talk about Horry County because that's where I live at now.
Right.
Currently. I know for Myrtle Beach, for example, because as y'all may not know, I'm working with a local candidate. They have mayor as well as city council, so they have at-large seats. So they got 3 city council seats that's up as well as the mayor. It's a total of 5 individuals that's running for mayor here in Myrtle Beach, as well as 10. Yes, I said 10 people who are running for 3 seats for city council, and they said they're speaking to the people who have been here all their lives, and they have never seen a race this competitive before. But just based off the candidate forums I've been to, the questions have been very intense. The questions have been very direct questions around the current climate of the city of Myrtle Beach, as well as the people have been showing up. But and disclaimer, nothing against our elders, but millennials and the younger generation, we need to start showing up to these meetings and these candidate forums and these local city council, county council meetings. Our elders who have paved the way, they are still the strongest and the backbone who are showing in big numbers at these events. I may see maybe 3 to 4 individuals that is around my age group who are in their 30s that are there.
So
For those who are even younger, it's not a lot that's there either. And these candidate forums are in the afternoons as well. They're starting
okay, Kelli.
at 7 o'clock. So we got to do better because there's no excuse. They make sure after work hours.
Let me ask you this, though. Let me ask you this. Why do you think that is? Because, yes, we know that that is important. Okay. So why are they not showing up? Do you feel like, is it being marketed towards them? Is it the type of event that they would have interest in? Like, what are some of the things that could be done? What are some of the things that we might be doing wrong? We know what we want them to do, but for the people out there who are organizing these type of events, so I hope all of you organizers out here are listening. What are some things that you think they might be able to do to attract that demographic?
Number one, we do need to market better in other spaces outside of Facebook to be able to get, our generation engaged. Also, we need to really I'm always tie everything back to education. I know we several conversations we have had, I said education is important. I think now a lot of people in our age group is really seeing that local politics truly matter, and local politics also have a direct effect to our everyday lives. And I really feel that if we start really educating people on what city council and county council and your solicitors and your school board, what they actually are in these roles for, and how it is important to make sure we have the right people in these seats. We do need a little bit better, need to get a little bit better at educating around those things, and maybe people will start showing up
right
a bit more.
And I also want to ask this too. What are some of the things that you think might, if they're not showing up for the events to support candidates, this question might not even be the best question to ask, but what do you think might encourage some younger people to even run for some of these offices?
Well, at the end of the day, you live in these areas. You see that you may not have the jobs. You see where your taxes are going up. You see where, the wages may not be going up in your area. These are things that you have, if you run for these offices, you do have a voice and an opinion, and you can help bring in some of these things, especially when it comes to industry. I know a big thing, especially like from my home county where I'm from, the biggest thing is like, we don't have anything to do. We don't have, like the Dillons and the Florence and the Myrtle Beaches and the Conways of the restaurants, to just simple as that, or food places to eat at. Well, guess what? Run for office. Bring ideas to the table. Strategies that the city may already have implemented that you see that's not happening in a manner where it's going to be beneficial to you and generations to come. Run for office. Have us put your voice in those rooms.
Right. Because I for one say, like, listen, you can't complain if you're not going to get in the game.
No, you can't.
You got to get in the game.
And you, everybody's not meant to run for office either. So put it out there.
Very true.
And that's why I also encourage for you to become thought partners with your local city council and current mayors and current school board members by showing up at these meetings, asking them questions, but also asking them, how can I assist? Because like for me, for example, I'm pretty good at business. I'm pretty good at strategy. I'm good at really thinking outside the box. So I take my initiative to partner with those who are in office to say, hey, these are some ideas that I've been thinking about. I know you guys, because most cities have a strategic plan for 5 to 10
Absolutely.
years, and really just picking their brains on what is a part of that strategic plan and seeing like, hey, well, have you thought about this or have you
Mhm.
thought about that? So they can take it back to council to say, hey, we talked to a young lady, and she brought some great ideas that we may need to revisit our strategic plan and maybe implement these things.
I agree, because listen, you see what's going on out here, and in fact, I got a video that I want to play because right now, some of us, not all of us, are going to work,
Mm,
but the government is not.
mm. They're getting
So
paid.
you understand me? So we're gonna talk about that on the other side of this video.
Today is day 22 of this government shutdown, and officially it's the second longest shutdown in history. And a brand new problem has popped up that may force lawmakers in the House and the Senate to start from scratch on a new bill to try and reopen this government. And this problem will probably force House Speaker Mike Johnson to bring the House back into session, even though he said he wouldn't do that until the government is reopened. And it will cause a brand new headache in the Senate. So what is this problem? It's the calendar. So here's what's going on. Back on September 19th, more than a month ago, the House passed what's called a continuing resolution, or a CR, to keep the government open. Then Speaker Johnson sent the entire House home for recess, and that's where they've been ever since. As I've been reporting, when that CR got to the Senate, it failed because it requires 60 votes, which means Republicans, since they don't have 60 senators, need to have Democrats to also vote yes. Well, Democrats will not give over those votes until Republicans also agree to deal with the expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies for low and middle income Americans. So that's what's going on. Now to the problem, to the calendar. Today is October 22nd, but the House passed continuing resolution, the one that keeps failing in the Senate over and over and over again, expires on November 21st, which is just a few weeks away from now. So even if by some miracle the Senate passes the House passed continuing resolution today, which it won't, we would have another government shutdown deadline on November 21st. So we would be right back in this same mess in just a few weeks. So what's going to happen? Well, there is no end in sight for this current government shutdown, and certainly no indication that the current House passed continuing resolution will ever get the 60 votes it needs in the Senate. House Speaker Mike Johnson has indicated that keeping the House out of session is a strategic move to put pressure on Senate Democrats to pass the CR that also passed in the House last month. Well, it doesn't appear like that pressure is working because Senate Democrats have, at least so far, not caved and have so far refused to pass that CR without those ACA subsidies. So because all of this has dragged on for so long, the Speaker now may be forced to abandon that strategy and bring the House back into session to pass a new continuing resolution with a later date beyond November 21st. But if he does that, then he will also be forced to swear in the new Congresswoman-elect from the state of Arizona, who is a Democrat, and she will become the 218th signature on the Epstein Files discharge petition, which would then force a vote on that discharge petition on the House floor. The Speaker is sort of in a pickle right now. And even if he does do all of that, and if he can somehow get a new continuing resolution passed through the House, it will likely not include any of those ACA subsidies. So we'll be right back in this exact same place again in the Senate with Democrats likely withholding those votes.
A mess.
A mess. And I really want us to, Tanya, take a few minutes to really explain to people what's really happening, because I know it's been a lot of pointing fingers when it comes to congressional members. And I had several calls yesterday of people asking me, of course, and I know we're going to talk about it a little bit later about the SNAP issue.
Yeah.
But also people just really want to know, why are the Democrats holding the line? And I really want us to really talk about that, to explain to people why.
Let's talk about it.
So, as you guys know, yes, we're in a government shutdown. And when you're in a government shutdown, as a former federal employee who was laid off because of this administration, our current ones who are still working, they are considered furloughed. And what furlough means, they still actively working their job. 8 o'clock, clocking in, 5 o'clock, clocking out. But they are not receiving a paycheck. As well as our active duty U.S. military personnel, they are still going and doing their job and showing up, but they're not receiving a paycheck. So that's number one. So also flagging. Republicans have a majority. They have the presidency, they have the U.S. Senate, and they have the majority in the House. And unfortunately, it looks like they have the Supreme Court. So putting that out there. So why is the Democrats holding the line? So you know that thing that they used to call Obamacare, that when Trump got into office in 2016, he was his promise was to get rid of Obamacare and come up with a whole new medical plan. Well, guess what? That was a lie. He didn't. All he did was change the name from Obamacare to ACA, which is now known as the Affordable Care Act. What the Affordable Care Act is basically lowering premiums on the market where people who have low income funding can afford health care.
And people need that. Let's just be clear about that. You know, people are working, and I think people need to know that making that affordable is important. And if, you know, the Democrats were not holding the line here, we're talking about these same people, their premiums are going to double and triple.
On double. And not only just those who are on the Affordable Care Act premiums, but people who are not on the Affordable Care Act premium. So if you got Blue Cross Blue Shield or any type of insurance policy, your premiums can go up between $600 to $1,200 to $3,000 a month.
Right. And some people do not make enough money for that amount of money to come out of their income, out of their pay to have insurance. So that's going to force more people to be uninsured. Continue.
So what the Democrats are doing, when we say the Democrats are holding the line, the Democrats are saying, hey, if we're going to reopen the government, let's come up with a common sense spending bill to extend the funding for the Affordable Care Act so premiums will not go up.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's the fight right now. Republicans are like, no. And the Democrats is like, but we're going to have millions of Americans who are not going to have insurance if we do not. So that's the fight. So the Republicans are ready to pass the bill as is and forget that Americans, our premiums are going to go up without any care, which a lot of their constituents are in red states like South Carolina who will be affected.
Right.
The Democrats are like, absolutely not. We have to come back with a common sense spending bill to also put funding into this. So unfortunately, you guys, as Lisa you saw on the TikTok video, it's probably not going to end anytime soon.
Probably not. Probably not. And I mean, and you brought it up a little bit before talking about this, but there's some other things going on that are coming right down the pipeline that are going to affect people as early as next week.
Yeah.
So that is.
So I don't know. It's out there now. You guys have seen across social media where here in South Carolina, I can speak for South Carolina, the Department of Social Services have made an announcement stating that due to the government shutdown as of November the 1st, they will not be able to disperse any funds when it comes to SNAP. What is SNAP? It's food stamps. So this is a breakdown per county on how many people actually receive SNAP benefits here in our state. And I believe it's a little over 560-some thousand in total that receive SNAP benefits. And then I think I did this morning for the candidate I'm helping, where it's superintendent of education, a little over 270,000 children will be affected if the shutdown does not end within the next few days.
And we're talking about, I mean, it's already horrible that working class people are just not going to be able to afford their health care, along with what's going to happen with Medicaid and Medicare. But we're looking at literally starving families.
Starving families.
The least we could do is feed people and make sure that they have
They have.
appropriate health care.
And I also want to flag as well, too, because I've seen a lot of people are already starting with negative comments. Well, good. They need to go to work. You know, they shouldn't be on food stamps. Over 50% of individuals who are on SNAP benefits have a job. I just want to make that clear. They have a job. Wages are not where they should be, where people can afford to pay their $1,200 or $1,500 rent or mortgage.
Right.
Utilities, phone bill, car payment, insurance, on top of feeding their family.
Listen, okay, everything continues to go up. The cost of living is going up, like some of the same things that were promised, that people were expecting.
Oh,
groceries. Groceries were supposed to go down. Okay, that hasn't gone down. None of that. Rent in the housing market. It's outrageous. People can't even afford their own cost of living. It's like people are out here and they're working just to go to work. Like, to know the amount of people who are working paycheck to paycheck, that's not a way to live, people.
It's not a way to live. And also another cause and effect on this for the people who say, oh, well, that's not my concern. But guess what? Grocery stores, for example, especially grocery stores in food desert areas, who depend on SNAP benefits to fund their grocery stores. If SNAP, let's say and I pray to God this does not happen. Well, let's say it goes all the way to the top of the year, where 2 months where people are not afford to go grocery shop in some of the grocery stores. A lot of these grocery stores are going to be forced to say one or two things. Either A, they're going to hurt financially and may have to shut down from the smaller grocery stores, not necessarily like your Walmarts or
right.
anything, but also they may have to increase grocery prices even more to be able to balance out for the lack of income and profit that they're going to be getting through the loss of SNAP benefits.
Well, listen, I hear what you're saying. You're saying that, okay, grocery stores may be forced to have increases on their prices, but who's going to pay that? Who's going to be paying for that? Okay, so we've got the percentage of people who, okay, well, they're making a nice living, and that's a very small percentage of the population. They aren't having problems with groceries right now. They probably have no idea what the grocery prices are because that's not how they shop.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to be enough of the population to make these businesses thrive or to keep these grocery stores open. So if anything, I know I hear you saying like they might raise prices, but if anything, if grocery stores are smart, they themselves should lower prices.
But let's be for real, Tanya.
I'm real.
Let's be for real, Tanya. When it comes to
capitalism.
Capitalism is a beast. And let's flag about these isms. I saw a video where a farmer was talking about, socialism is the reason why, all this thing is happening. No, baby, it's capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
You get your isms correct. But I do, and I want to applaud all the elected officials here in the state of South Carolina that I have seen so far, like Senator Tamika Isaac Devine, Representative Hamilton Grant, just to name a few, that has called on Henry McMaster to do something. So, so states can supplement until the government reopens. So how I learned this, I was actually scrolling through Instagram and I saw where Governor Westmore in Maryland, he's already, for the federal workers, he already made public transport free for them because he know they cannot afford to go back and forth to work.
Right.
Of course, he has allocated money towards food banks to make sure the food banks have the money and the funding that they need from the state level to be able to help, because the food banks are going to be overloaded as well too.
Absolutely.
In the next couple of weeks. I just want to and please be patient. If you're going to go to a food bank to get food, and be patient with the workers. It's going to be long lines. So I just want to put that out there. But also, Governor Westmore, I did not know this, as a state, they had funding in Maryland's reserve where for at least a month or two that they can extend to social services to keep funding SNAP for a short period of time. And I'm not sure, because I'm not a
Right.
representative or anything like that on how the finances and the budget here in the state of South Carolina. But like I said, I do see where elected officials who represent us here at the State House are applying pressure
That's great.
to our administration here, as well as the administration federally as well.
So I think one of the things to do would be for, the constituents out here, reach out to your elected officials and make
Yes.
sure that they are getting that to the governor, getting that to the ears that need to hear it, and getting that to the place where, who has that power of the pen, that can be done. Now, realistically, we live in a red state. So the probability of that happening, I don't know, but I also believe in the people, because we watch people out here, saying, look, we want to do something about this. We want to make sure that people can get health care. Some of the things that we see going on is not right. So
Mhm.
people, you saw what happened with the No Kings rally. So people are out here, and people have had enough, and people
the
would
people are-
like to see something different.
They are tired. I kudos to all who went to the rally. Of course, if you live here in CD7, which is from Myrtle Beach back over to Florence, our congressional member is Russell Fry.
Fry.
What I am planning on doing is calling his office and let him know, Russell, you are up for re-election next year. And if you want anybody's vote, even though I'm not going to vote for him, but if you want anybody's vote here in your district, you need to tell your Republican colleagues that they need to have some common sense, and let's get this government back open. If not, John Vincent, who is a candidate who is running against Russell Fry next year in midterm elections, will be voted in. Also, I want to let you know, all 435 seats, I believe, is up for re-election next year. So if they want to keep their power, they want to keep getting paid when they're in a government shutdown where everybody else is not getting paid and they're still getting paid their $174,000 a year, do what's right by the American people or get voted out.
It's this thing is so, like you say, common sense here. These are your constituents. And once you get elected into office, whether these people voted for you or not, because you as a candidate, because you as an official said that this is what I want to do, I intend to be a public servant, you are serving all of those people in your district. And it is up to you to make sure that they have the very basics that they need. Why do we have to make it seem like it's such an impossible thing to make sure that people can eat? Make sure that people can have health care.
We are one of the only nations that don't do for our people.
It's
When you
crazy.
go to I travel a lot. I travel a lot internationally. And when you go to other countries, they look at you crazy when they say that we have to pay a copay, or we have to pay thousands of dollars to go to an emergency. That college is not free. College used to be free. And I'm also going to put this out here. Racism is expensive, because a lot of things used to be free, but because certain people, not all, did not want people of color and minorities and Black people to have certain things, they reversed things. So we didn't have credit at one point. We didn't have to pay college tuition at one point. But when good old Ronald Reagan came into office, a lot of those things changed. And even right now, the things that they're doing is costing us simply because they don't want certain groups and pockets of people to have the things, not knowing, especially when it comes to SNAP, that minorities are not the majority who receive SNAP benefits.
I mean, listen, and once again, we're going to use some common sense on this, because we don't even have to put an exact number on it. But how would we ever be, considering that we're 13 to 14% of the population? How could we possibly be the greater benefactors of any social program? So to make people believe that just doesn't make sense. Common sense here.
Wow. Then the math, I said the math is not mathing.
The math does not math.
And historically, programs were not designed for people of color since the foundations and the fabric of this country was even created. So that should tell you right there that we're not the majority that's receiving. But I feel so bad because I live in a very small community that is a heavily red community. And I know some of the people who live around me who are on these programs, but they voted for this. I can't.
Absolutely. I mean, I see it all the time. I see in the stores, and because SNAP has a card. So I see people who are swiping the card, and largely the people do not look like me.
No.
I see it all the time. So, to have that thought process, we need to rethink that. And you said something that was very key. These programs were not designed for us. And let's think about it like this, plain simple, plain talk, bad manners, if you want to say it. Do you think a program like that would have been designed for the benefit of minority people? No.
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 Not
at all.
Was not. And I do want to say though, this is the time that we do need to start coming up together as a community. One thing about the minority communities, us folks, we know how to survive. I can honestly say, thank God, my family never had to use those programs. But I know if my parents needed to, I know like for WIC, of course, my mom more likely was on WIC and Medicaid.
Yes.
And SNAP benefits, we never had that. But if we needed to, I know we would take advantage of it. But we know how to survive, and we need to start getting into those survival instincts, going back to growing gardens, going back to, for the holidays. I'm like, oh my God, how I'm going to, the holidays, Thanksgiving is coming up. How about this? Auntie, you do the macaroni and cheese. Uncle, you do the turkey.
Right.
You do the cranberry sauce instead of that one person in the household trying to go and gather and get all the food for everybody. Everybody bring a dish.
It's going to be a lot of that.
It is ways around these things. Also, I'm really praying that the churches step up.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up.
At this time, I already know I said I was going to make a call to action to the churches and see, what resources they have available so we can start pushing out to the people just in case of the next few weeks. Of course, you got like the Harvest Hope and you got certain food banks as well, but we need to start putting out like what are things that's available out there just to get people to the needs. Also, I tell anybody too, you don't go to Publix, go to the Aldi's, go to like the Dollar General now, have like the Dollar General markets now. Sometime we're gonna have to versus what our needs. If you want them those Cheetos, that's a want. That's not a need. Get what you need during this time to be able to start budgeting and saving on what you can.
I agree.
We're going to have to be strategic over the next few weeks.
Listen,
we do things
over the next few weeks. If this influences a lifestyle change of people coming back to family and coming back to community, that is the one good thing that I could see coming out of this.
Absolutely.
Perhaps there will be, going back to families where there is generational living, where there are generations in a household, because that's what it's going to take to make sure that, a household is maintained, that everybody has a roof over their head, that people can eat, because like you said, so many people have been displaced from work, and there are people who are working or not getting paid. It's tough out here. And not to mention the difficulties that young people are having. I also want to say, if you personally know, and I think we could do this in neighborhoods, but if you know of food services and banks, share those with your neighbors.
Yes.
Don't go by, thinking they might have this or they might have that because they've got a certain car in the driveway or they live in a particular neighborhood. No. This is hitting everybody. Don't think about if they're Republican or Democrat. No, this is hitting everybody. And so it isn't that. This is about people. And if another thing that comes out of this is that we, the people, can realize, Republican, Democrat, Independent, realize that we want the same basic things, that's gonna be something great that comes out of this. I see we got I see we got Genesis in here. I wanna read her comment. She said, "Both parties are so compromised by money, they are not representing the people." Okay? And she's absolutely right about that. We've got Katrina Fulmore in here. She said, "Capitalism is greedy." I understand that. Got John Hicks in here. How you doing, John? Glad to have you in here with us today. He says, "My premium is rated to be $2,900 monthly starting in January."
Ooh, John.
You hear that?
Monthly. He didn't say throughout the year.
Not year, monthly. That is not an annual rate. That is per month. Okay, and break that down really quick. That's what is that about? Almost over $600, over $700 a month. Okay, $700 a month for insurance premiums. Come on, guys, we got to start caring about each other as people. Before political party, before racial diversity and background. We got it. Y'all wanted to get rid of DEI. Okay, it's gone. You trashed it. So let's get rid of it. It's gone. But we need to have the E.
Equity is everything.
Okay? We need to have the E. Because there's people out here who are suffering because you don't want some basic, you don't realize that everyday people have some of the same everyday needs.
And I truly hate that they weaponize diversity, equity, inclusion for what it is, for a racial thing, when it is not just for minority groups. It's your veterans. It's your disabled individuals. It's your elderly individual. It's us as women. Like, that's all I can say, Tanya.
It is. Listen, Genesis is in here. She says her mother's insurance is said to be $1,776 now, and right now she's paying $728. That's a huge difference. Okay. All right. I see Con Lane in here. How you doing, Con? Keep the people informed. We've got to keep each other informed. Not only do we have to keep each other informed, Con, but we've got to keep each other inspired. We can't give up.
We can't.
We've got to continue to speak up. We've got to continue to speak out. You got to help in ways that you can help. We see people who are out here on the lines, on the, doing what they're doing, and that they absolutely should be doing, but what can you do? And you might think it's small, but everything is going to matter right now.
Yeah.
Everything.
Also, as simple as sharing this video as well too, just getting the information out. Also, let's talk about information real quick. Please make sure you are getting your information from credible sources. It's still a lot of misinformation that is going out right now, and right now it's not the time to divulge into misinformation articles, pieces, or even just following what people have to say. Research for yourselves. Ask the questions. For even around the SNAP information, if you are not fully understanding, call the Department of Social Services and ask them, hey, what does this mean? Ask the questions.
Right.
So you can obtain the knowledge and the information for yourself.
Because some of the information that is coming out is misleading purposefully. But it's also important to just, like, if you see something and it like you say, it catches your attention, just do that extra little research and say, let me look this up. Let me see where this is coming from, what credible source this could be coming from. And I'm glad you brought this up, Kelly, because it's so important right now for us to support independent media. Yes. What Kelly and I are doing right here, independent media is going to be good for you locally, because some of the information that you need is just not being pushed to you. Even right here on some of these social platforms, the platform that you're watching this from, they're not pushing it out as much. So it's going to be up to you to make sure that you share the information. It's up to you to make sure that you support the information. When I ask you guys to go and follow on YouTube, it's not because I don't have anything better to do. It's because some of these platforms are crushing our reach.
Mm-hmm.
They're crushing it. And what they're able to do with AI is because now they don't have to have individual people out here
Yeah.
monitoring and seeing what's going on. They're just looking for a certain word, looking to see that you're going towards a certain demographic, and then your reach is being shrunk.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you share it and support independent media. I've never asked you guys for anything. I don't. But if you want me to continue to do this, I have to, because you've made it a full-time job for me. And I want to do it, and I want to keep bringing it to you. And I'm talking about small, just anything small that people do towards helping social media, because like I know everybody is in need right now. So it makes me feel uncomfortable to even ask, but I tell you something, $1, $5, $10 makes a difference,
Mm-hmm.
because it makes me continue to do this, because guess what? I got to turn lights on too. I got to have the internet service to do this for you all. I'm not even going to talk about the equipment and all of that stuff that it takes to do it. I've done that part. So if you guys want to support independent media, make sure that you tell people, hey, go follow Talk It Out Live with MsTonya. Go to MsTonya TV on YouTube. That's why it's important for you to subscribe, because they've got a system there that help content creators. And that's where it's going to help out a lot. So don't say I'm begging. What I'm doing is making sure that we can continue to do this. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I see we got Genesis on here. She says, I'm offering farm fresh vegetables, clean and cut, and meals for families up to 4 family members. See that?
Thank you.
Yes, she does that.
I think you follow me on Facebook. Send me that information so I can blast it out on my platforms.
Absolutely. She's up there at Culture of Florence. I know her to, do some homesteading, farming, and she helped me out with my container garden. I've got some fresh things growing. I've got like my little herbs and spices. She got me going. So, guys, whatever it is that you can do, and people with gardens, find out who your local farmers are. You'll get better rates. I know we've got Ellerby Farms over there off of Swinton Road, right there in Timmonsville. Support these people. That's Kelli.
Who your neighbors? Well, I have a neighbor who lives right off the street. He owns so many acres of land, and he'll knock on my door randomly and say, "Hey, I got some zucchini and squash for you."
Exactly.
So find out who your neighbors who just got regular farms and gardens who don't, they have an abundance, so they just trying to give it away so it don't go bad.
And I mean that's what happens. That's what you do. You got a pear tree in your backyard. Make sure you put some pears on your neighbors. But you know what? I take that. Let me say this. That's something that we actually do, because that's something that I do. Most people who farm and grow things, whenever you've got an abundance of tomatoes and this and that, we go give them to other people. We just do, because we're not going to watch them just rot off the tree.
Exactly.
You got pears, you got apples, whatever it is you got. We share them. So that's what good people do. But what I like to encourage is you guys share information about food banks, check on your elderly people. They're going to need it.
They're going to need it. Also, they haven't announced anything yet, but I can foresee it coming if this continues to push on even further than what we need to be. Like I said, a trickle effect. So those who have elderly parents that may be getting Social Security benefits, that may be affected eventually, because the Congress is the purse. They are the ones who hold the pocketbook. If they don't fund things properly, that means things cannot disperse to the public how they need to disperse. So I'm just saying right now, because this is something I'm doing with my elderly parent who's on Social Security. We're already making plans. So just in case if they miss a check, how can we support him? So if you have parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, aunties, uncles who do have, who get Social Security as well, we need to start having conversations on how we can assist them as family, as a village, when you get back to the village, to help them pay bills, get food, just in case their social security
Yeah,
benefits are affected down the line. But I am
you
praying
got to.
that they get their act together, because they
They
need to.
got to. I mean, that's a very, very good plan, and we don't have to wait for that to happen because we see, the possibility of these things happening. And just because, even like we saw in the earlier video, they're just like kicking the can down the road. So this could possibly happen again.
Amen.
So please, if nothing else, we're always taught that you should be saving for that time of need. My grandma always said, put something in the nest, put something in the nest, or, save for a rainy day. That's what
Yeah.
that means. Well, it's raining, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
It's raining. So right now, if you've got elderly people or someone in your family who is on Social Security, start putting something in a savings today. Don't wait until it happens and try to get up some money, because the light company, they not get ready to wait for y'all to get it together.
They're not. And
The water company, they not get ready to wait for y'all to get it together.
not. And also seeing where we can cut back at. That's one thing I'm doing with my elderly parent right now. Like saying, I'm looking at all his bills
Mhm.
compared to his check. What are things, again, is a need versus a want, and see
Right.
if we can come back to spread his check a little bit further.
Mhm.
I'm doing the same thing in my household.
I was about to say.
What are things I need to cut back on? Okay, Kelly, you can't get your nails done every 2 weeks,
Mm-mm.
or maybe I'm doing once a month now, type of situation. This really is to start budget. And I understand people saying, oh my God, I don't have no money to save. I get it. Because
Mhm.
I understand what living paycheck to paycheck looks like. But
Yeah.
like you said, like my dad used to tell me, you got $5, pay your bills with $3 and save $2.
Pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. When you get that check, you take something. You say you don't have nothing to save it first. Then pay your bills. You figure that out and divide what you have left for your bills. Because if you wait to have money left over, you wouldn't be able to save.
You
It's
won't.
tough. It's
It's tough.
tough.
Things. I have I get the gallon when I finish the gallon jugs.
Mhm.
I'm not a coin person, but I throw them in my gallon jugs.
Mhm.
Those coins are still equate to money.
Yeah.
Whatever you can do, we're gonna have to start thinking outside the box now.
And like you say, we living in a time where spending needs to be a necessity. Just stop
Holiday.
being out here spending things. Holidays coming up, but listen, you just need to have a real conversation with your kids. Like, I have lived through times. Life is about, the peaks and valleys. Okay. I've had some valleys, but I communicate. I'm like, listen, I'm going to get you one gift this year. Things are a little tight. I've done that with my kids growing up. And let me
Mhm.
tell you something. Could have been a tough Christmas. Wasn't a tough Christmas. It was probably one of the best, but I was honest. I didn't put that pressure on myself of having to try to get this and that. I'm like, what is this thing that you want? And I'll see what I can do to get that one particular thing, but that is going to be it. And we're going to eat and we're going to make it through this period of our valley. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of talk to your kids reasonably. And if you have small kids, let me tell you something. You think back to your own childhood and you tell me what you got at 6 years old for Christmas. And if you remember everything you got, then you're good and you're definitely not the norm. Kids don't even remember some of these
I
things that they've gotten.
put out for the stuff the next day.
Yes.
And
You know,
my parents went all out for us for Christmas.
yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it. And
Yeah.
there's been times that we have, but you ever see that kid, you buy your kid, you go all out for the kids, and you look over there and they playing with the box.
Especially if they under 5 or under
That's
4.
what I'm saying. So do not put unnecessary pressure
Please do
on
not.
yourself, particularly when you have little kids. And then when you have these kids who are within reason of understanding, talk to them respectfully, like how you love and respect them, and let them know what's going on. And that it is not just your home, this is what is happening across our nation. And I
Absolutely.
promise you,
And I want to
you will
flag
be fine.
those who may say, well, we can splurge because we got tax season that's coming up. The tax credit, let's talk about this real quick. I know we're running out of time. So they extended the tax plan of 2017, which in Trump's first administration that he has. So with this new Congress, which he has a supermajority who's backing him, extended that tax plan. So now for next tax season, if you have gotten a raise recently and are now blessed to be in a new tax bracket, I'm just letting you know now that it's going to hurt for the average American next tax season, because the ultra rich, his buddies that was sitting at the inauguration who was billionaires,
Right.
definitely now are not going to have to pay anything back with this new extension of his tax plan. But the average American, I think they said, is estimated to go up at least $700 additional on what we will owe.
That's
Not
crazy.
back, but owe.
Oh, right.
To the federal government. And right now, I know somebody who has to pay back the government every single year. I can't afford an additional $700 increase on the amount of money I already have.
That you already
I'm still
owe.
on the payment plan as we speak right now. So I just want to put that out there for those who, we can splurge. We got tax money. Just wanted to put that out there. Your tax they not look the same.
Do not depend on that. And not only that, if that's the case, don't you try to pay back for toys and things that are not necessity, because can't any of us eat a toy. You better make sure that you have your stuff together for the coming year, because you don't know what's happening. We on a rough ride, y'all. You on a rough ride. I see Con Lane. She says, pay yourself, my sister, after making an honest living. Okay. And we have Katrina here. She says, so true. Kids under 5 love boxes. You know it's true.
They do.
If you had kids, you done seen them play with the box. Okay. You done spent your coin, your hard-earned money on that. Okay. I see John Hicks here. He says, kids under 6 don't need to know it's Christmas. Make Christmas 2 days later and buy all the discounted items. Listen, I have had some after Christmas shopping going on. I'm going to tell you, in some of those valleys, I just saved the money and I said, we going shopping and you're going to buy what you want. And their money went a little bit longer. So there's things that you can do. There's things you can do. Kelli, we talked to the people.
Yes, we did.
We did. I always enjoy you coming in here and us having this conversation and allowing people to get in here and talk. I hope that I'll be able to get some. I'm going to come on like another day. We'll be back on Tuesday. I'm going to be on Tuesday, and I hope I can get some people to talk a little bit more about what's happening with the SNAP. We'll know a little bit more. I hope I can get someone who owns a grocery store to come in here and talk and see how that might affect their business, what they think that might do for their business. So I'm working something like that out. I want to talk to some people, some businesses that I know SNAP will directly affect, because that's going to be lost business for them.
Yes.
All right. Anything else? I think we just need to tell the people bye and tell them to do what you got to do your part.
Yeah. Remember, go vote November the 4th. Right now we're in early voting until the 30th. Go and see if your city or town is having an election. Look up the candidates, research them. Go early vote if you can, but November the 4th, make sure you are at those polls. Local elections matter. Thank you.
All right. Y'all heard it. Make sure you do the things that you got to do. We love you here. We do. So that's why we want to share information when we get information. We want to talk these things out. We want to talk about some of the things that are important, but I want you also hold on to some joy. I want you to hold on to some joy. I know it looks tough. I know it is tough, but every moment that you can celebrate something with the people around you that you love, make sure that you do that, because we still need to live. We can't walk around with all of this stress. We cannot. That's not good for anybody. Be safe, be smart, and we'll be back here again next Tuesday. And in the meantime, and in between time, make sure that you subscribe. That's all, y'all.